Sir, what's your good name, sir?
My name is Ficci Millet Conclave, मैं डायरेक्टर एग्रीकल्चर उड़ीसा हूँ।
जी।
और आज का
Yes, sir.
मेरा नाम
थोड़ा और वॉल्यूम प्लीज।
Hello, my name is Prasad. I'm from Gandhigram. We have
Yes, sir. अस्सलामु अलैकुम, मैं ज़मीर अहमद अंसारी और आप देख रहे हैं जेड न्यूज़ फॉर यू। अर्ज़ यह है कि आपने अपने चैनल जेड न्यूज़ फॉर यू को अभी तक सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो सब्सक्राइब करें और साथ में दिए हुए बेल आइकन को भी दबाएं, जिससे हमारी आने वाली सभी वीडियोस के नोटिफिकेशन सबसे पहले आपको मिल सकें। सर, व्हाट्स योर गुड नेम, सर?
My name is प्रेमचंद्र चौधरी, मैं डायरेक्टर एग्रीकल्चर उड़ीसा हूँ।
जी।
और आज का कॉन्क्लेव जो फिक्की ने ऑर्गेनाइज किया था, तो उसमें बेसिकली डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ इश्यूज रिलेटेड टू मिलेट डिस्कशन हुआ है, जिसमें बहुत सारे रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बहुत सारे स्टेट सब लोग पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं और कैसे मिलेट को और इंडिया को वर्ल्ड लेवल पे प्री पोजीशन किया जा सकता है, उसके बारे में बहुत सारे डिस्कशन हुए। एंड होपफुली एक दूसरे से सारे लोग सीखेंगे और कुछ एक ऐसी पॉलिसी बनेगी जिससे मिलेट का एक्चुअली बहुत सारा डेवलपमेंट हो सकता है और उनके उससे रिलेटेड फार्मर्स का भी जो डेवलपमेंट हो सकता है।
थैंक यू, सर। यस, सर।
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम शर्मा मल्लिक है। मैं मिलेट्स फॉर हेल्थ नोएडा से हूँ। मिलेट्स फॉर हेल्थ 2016 से इस क्षेत्र में कार्यरत है। जैसा कि हम बता सकते हैं आपको कि मिस पल्लवी उपाध्याय 2016 से मिलेट्स पे लोगों को ट्रेनिंग देना, लोगों को रेसिपी पहुंचाना, लोगों को मिलेट्स के बारे में बताना, ये उन्होंने अभियान शुरू किया और आज इस मुकाम पर पहुंचे। मिलेट्स फॉर हेल्थ के पास आज के समय में 70 प्रोडक्ट हैं। 70 प्रोडक्ट में हर प्रकार की वैरायटी उपलब्ध है, चाहे आप राइस की बोलें, रवा बोले, आटा बोले, चिरवा बोले, पोहा खा सकते हैं, नूडल्स है, खाखरा है, कुकीज़ है, यानी बहुत सारी की वैरायटी है। और आज के समय में हम ज्वार का ब्रेड भी देते हैं, रागी ब्रेड देते हैं, रागी का पिज्जा बेस भी है, ज्वार का पाव बन भी है, यानी हर प्रकार की वैरायटी है। जो लोग चाहते नहीं है कि हम मिलेट नहीं खा सकते, वह भी मिलेट खाने के लिए तैयार हो जाते हैं। इतनी हमारे पास वैरायटी है। हम दिल्ली में तो होम डिलीवरी भी करते हैं और पूरे भारत में हम कुरियर के माध्यम से भी लोगों को किचन तक मिलेट्स पहुंचाने का काम कर रहे हैं। पल्लवी उपाध्याय, राजीव पांडे जी 2016 से ही कार्यरत है और हम 10,000 किसानों के साथ आंध्र प्रदेश में, 2,000 किसानों के साथ बुंदेलखंड उत्तर प्रदेश में कार्य कर रहे हैं और उनसे मिलेट्स मार्केटिंग के लिए भी हम लिंक नेटवर्क बना रहे हैं, जिससे कि उनको मिलेट्स उत्पादन करें और मार्केट में उनको आगे बढ़ाएं।
बताइए
नमस्कार,
सर।
मेरा नाम महेश लोंडे है, मैं पुणे से हूँ। हम लोग मिलेट्स में डील करते हैं। उसमें हम लोग मिलेट्स में जो 9 टाइप्स ऑफ मिलेट्स है, जैसे रागी, कुटकी, जो ब्राउन टॉप, जो अलग अलग इंग्लिश में नाम है, 9 टाइप्स ऑफ है, उसी सभी में हम लोग डील कर रहे हैं। उसमें हम लोग अलग अलग प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं, जैसे रेडी टू ईट है, रेडी टू कुक है, या ग्रेन से हम लोग वो बेच रहे हैं। उसमें हम लोग बाजरा में ज़्यादा काम कर रहे हैं। बाजरा के हमारे 15 प्रोडक्ट है, जो हम लोग जो एनीमिया होता है, डिफिशियंसी, उसके लिए हम लोग बना रहे हैं। और ये प्रोडक्ट हम लोग सब मिड डे मील है या ICDS है पुणे में, हार्वेस्ट प्लस करके ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, उनके साथ हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं और ये काफ़ी अच्छा बच्चों को पसंद आ रहा है। ऐसे ही हम लोग फार्मर के साथ भी काम कर रहे हैं। जो महाराष्ट्र में हम लोग, महाराष्ट्र, मध्य प्रदेश, छत्तीसगढ़ और उड़ीसा के 11 हम लोग FPO के साथ काम कर रहे हैं। 15,000 फार्मर्स हमारे से जुड़े हैं जो मिलेट बेस्ड काम कर रहे हैं। अलग अलग एरिया में हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं, जैसे मध्य प्रदेश में कुटकी और कोदो से काम कर रहे हैं, महाराष्ट्र में रागी और बाजरा, जवार, इस पे काम कर रहे हैं, छत्तीसगढ़ में हम लोग कई लिटिल और जो अदर मिलेट से उसके साथ काम कर रहे हैं। ऐसा हम लोग कई 4 साल से हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। जैसे आप लोग देख सकते हैं, जैसे हम लोगों ने बाजरा का ये बनाया है, क्रैकर बनाया है। इसकी शेल्फ लाइफ 6 महीने है, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने इसमें कई टेक्नोलॉजी यूज़ किया है, जो हाइड्रोथर्मल NRI टेक्नोलॉजी। इससे हम लोग ये विदाउट कॉम्प्रोमाइजिंग दियर न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यूज़ हम लोग शेल्फ लाइफ बढ़ा रहे हैं, ताकि इसका मार्केट बढ़ जाए। अभी डिमांड तो बढ़ रही है, लेकिन मिलेट्स में काफ़ी अच्छा जो चैलेंजेस है उसमें एक है कि शेल्फ लाइफ, और दूसरा है कि उसका पैकेजिंग। तो हम लोगों ने काफ़ी अच्छा पैकेजिंग पे भी काम कर दिया है और शेल्फ लाइफ पे भी काम कर दिया, कि उसमें हम लोग कई टेक्नोलॉजी यूज़ किया। जैसे फ्लेक्स है, जो बाजरा का उसी टाइप हम लोगों ने चिवड़ा बनाया है। उसके बाद ये बिस्कुट है उसका, और कई लड्डूज भी बनाए हैं। ये हम लोगों ने, ये जो ग्रेन है, जो मोटा अनाज कहते हैं, इसको हम लोगों ने वैक्यूम पैकेजिंग किया। तो हम लोग जो चैलेंजेस आ रहे हैं इसमें मिलेट्स में, तो उसके साथ हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं कई 4-5 सालों से। तो इसमें अलग अलग, जैसे ये रेडी टू, ये खाकरा टाइप है, या ये चिवड़ा है, उसके बाद ये वर्मीसेली है, ये रोस्टर, मतलब ये खाकरा होता है जो, तो उस टाइप का है। तो ऐसे अलग अलग सब प्रोडक्ट है हमारे पास।
Hello, myself Dharmesh Kaushik. I am from Millet Bank, and we are into millet-based products. We are having ready-to-cook and ready-to-eat products like cookies, pasta, noodles, and muesli, fills, which is a variety. These are the variety of products. Like we have upma, pongal, khichdi, then instant millets, which is very good taste-wise also, and without maida. It is without any preservatives or pesticides or any chemical free.
तो आप फार्मर्स के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं या कंपनीज के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, किस तरह का साथ आपका?
Ours is an FPO based company wherein we deal directly from farm to plate, right? From farmer we procure our grains and we do the production and then we sell it. We do the packaging and all.
थैंक यू।
Hello, my name is Amin Prasad.
थोड़ा वॉल्यूम चेंज।
Hello, my name is Amin Prasad. I am from Bombay one. So we have the all millet products.
हिंदी में बताओ, कोई इशू नहीं है, कंफर्टेबल जो जिस लैंग्वेज में बोल सकते हो।
हमारे पास जो भी है सारे मिलेट बेस्ड प्रोडक्ट हैं। ये है आपका, जैसे चौकोस होते हैं, तो आपका वो कॉर्नफ्लेक्स और मैदा से बना हुआ है, जो कि हमारे मिलेट बेस्ड है। ये बना हुआ है आपका ज्वार एंड किनोवा से, ये वाला बना हुआ है रागी एंड ज्वार से। सो ये चॉकलेट बेस्ड है सर, और ये स्ट्रॉबेरी मिलेट बेस्ड है। ये वाला चॉकलेट बेस्ड है एंड दिस वन स्ट्रॉबेरी मिलेट बेस्ड। ये है किनोवा चोको सर, जो बच्चे नॉर्मल मैदा वगैरह का खाते हैं कॉर्नफ्लेक्स, उससे बेस्ट होता है। तो इसमें ये बना है आपका ज्वार से और किनोवा से बना हुआ है। ये काफ़ी हेल्दी होता है। ज्वार गवर्नमेंट भी तो प्रोवाइड करा रही है सर, प्रमोट कर रही है तो मिलेट बेसिक को। और ये है एक ओट्स मूसली हमारे पास, ये फॉक्सटेल मिलेट से बना हुआ है। इसमें शुगर नहीं है, शुगर की जगह हमने जैगरी पाउडर यूज़ कर रखा है। हमारे पास 3 वेरिएंट्स इसके स्नैक्स, ये है ओट्स ज्वार एंड गार्लिक फ्लेवर है। काफ़ी हेल्दी है, रोस्टेड है, नॉट फ्राइड। एंड इसमें हमारे पास एक और जो है नवा ट्रायंगल, ये भी रोस्टेड है, नॉन फ्राइड है। एंड इसमें एक और है वो ज्वार पाव लेमन ब्रेड बेसिस है, ये भी रोस्टेड है, काफ़ी हेल्दी प्रोडक्ट है।
तो आपकी कंपनी डायरेक्ट फार्मर से है कनेक्टेड या
नो सर
किस तरह से?
मैन्युफैक्चर थर्ड पार्टी, तो इस लोकेटेड तो तमिलनाडु।
तमिलनाडु से है। थैंक यू। यस मैम, थोड़ा लाउडली।
मैं वंशिका वाजपेयी, जस्ट ऑर्गेनिक हमारी कंपनी जस्ट ऑर्गेनिक को 10 साल पूरे हो चुके हैं। तो हम हमारे सारी ग्रोसरी में हम डील करते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे सारे प्रोडक्ट्स उत्तराखंड से आते हैं, 90% उत्तराखंड से आते हैं। और जिसमें कि मिलेट्स हमारे बहुत ज़्यादा फोकस करते हैं, मिलेट्स से बहुत ज़्यादा हमारे मिलेट्स के आते हैं। और नए हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, जैसे मिलेट्स की मूसली हमने बनाई है, उसका ठंडाई बनाई है हमने। और हमारी मूसली है मिलेट्स की, और हमारी ठंडाई है, और सूप है हमारा मिलेट का, जिसमें रागी और बाजरा हमने यूज़ किया है। और ये रेडी टू ईट के हमारे मिलेट्स के आइटम हैं।
ये फ्लावर्स हैं, आप इधर भी दिखा सकते हो, ये सारे फ्लावर्स लगे। ये सभी साबुत जो ग्लास में लगे हुए हैं, ये सारे फ्लावर्स हैं। और ये जो लगे हुए हैं सारे ग्लास में मिलेट्स होल लगे हुए हैं। इसके अलावा हमारी पल्सेस आती हैं, सारी स्पाइसेस आती हैं, और मतलब सभी ऑर्गेनिक हमारे किचन की प्रोडक्ट्स सामने आते हैं।
तो आपकी कंपनी कहाँ बेस है?
उत्तराखंड रुद्रपुर।
उत्तराखंड
रुद्रपुर में हमारी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट है। उत्तराखंड से हमारे सारे के सारा आता है।
तो आप भी फार्मर से कनेक्टेड हैं या आप थर्ड पार्टी से कनेक्टेड?
हम फार्मर से कनेक्टेड हैं, फार्मर्स हमारे लिए काम करते हैं।
ठीक। यस सर।
नमस्कार जी, मेरा नाम अजय राज और हम लोग मिलेट प्रोजेक्ट फाउंडेशन उड़ीसा से हैं। हमारा ब्रांड है वार्म फूड्स। हम लोग रागी से प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हैं। 27 SKU हमारे, मेजरली नूडल्स, पास्ता, कुकीज, स्नैक्स और सेवरीज। हमारी फैक्ट्री जो है बिल्कुल गांव के बीच में लगी हुई है। तकरीबन 3000 हमारे किसान भाई बहन हैं हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, और मेजरली सब ट्राइबल्स हैं जो हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं। वहीं पे पैदाइश होती है, वहीं पे प्रोडक्ट्स बनते हैं, डायरेक्टली फार्म फ्रेश प्रोडक्ट्स आपके टेबल पे।
नाइस। तो पब्लिक किस तरह से अवेयर हो रही है ये मिलेट्स के लिए? किस तरह से आप क्या करना चाहते हैं?
मिलेट्स की अवेयरनेस है, बट अभी भी थोड़ी कम है। दुनिया को लगता है कि मिलेट्स का कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है। अगर आप किसी डॉक्टर से पूछेंगे जो लाइफस्टाइल डिजीज़ के बारे में बताएगा वो, तो पहला उसका कहना ये होगा कि मिलेट्स का ही। जैसे हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स हम इसमें मैदा यूज़ नहीं करते, हम इसमें चीनी यूज़ नहीं करते, हम इसमें जैगरी यूज़ करते हैं, गुड़ का जो पाउडर होता है, डायबिटिक फ्रेंडली है, हाइपरटेंसिव फ्रेंडली है, अच्छी प्रोडक्ट्स हैं ये। बट यस, अभी भी टाइम लग रहा है मिलेट्स को पॉपुलराइज होने में। मैदे का टेस्ट अच्छा होता है, इसके मैदे का टेस्ट क्या नहीं रहा टेस्ट जबान से। एंड हमारा प्रोडक्ट अगर आपको चाहिए तो हमारी वेबसाइट से आपको मिल जाएगा, warmfoods.in।
तो पब्लिक को अवेयर करने के लिए क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप?
सो देखिए, पब्लिक को अवेयर एट अ स्मॉल लेवल हम लोग नहीं कर सकते, एट अ लार्ज लेवल कॉन्शियसनेस आनी चाहिए। अब प्रधानमंत्री मोदी से लेकर नीचे सब लोग जो हैं यही बात करते हैं। आज भी जैसे डॉक्टर खादर वली आए थे, अभी उनको पद्मश्री मिला, उनको मिलेट मैन ऑफ इंडिया बोला जाता है। वो तो बस ये बोलते हैं कि आटा और चावल खाना बंद कर दो, दूध पीना बंद कर दो, सिर्फ और सिर्फ मिलेट खाओ। वो अपनी जगह सही है, बट हम लोग नहीं मानते। हम लोग अपनी जगह से हमें पिज़्ज़ा चाहिए, ब्रेड चाहिए,
क्योंकि हैबिचुअल हो चुके हैं हम आज के दिन में, उसको छोड़ने के लिए टाइम चाहिए।
सबसे मैदे और आटे में जो कॉम्प्लेक्स आपके कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स हैं वो आपकी जवान को कहते हैं और उसका टेस्ट इट इज़ एडिक्टिव। मिलेट में वो नहीं है। मिलेट में आप हमारी 6 कुकीज़ खा लेंगे, 7वीं खा नहीं पाएंगे। फाइबर है, वो जाके बैठ जाता है आपके पेट में।
जब 6 कुकीज़ से ही सफिशिएंट हो रहा है, पेट भर रहा है, तो फिर 7वीं खाने की क्या जरूरत है?
अभी तक मुझे कोई मिला नहीं जो बोले।
ओके, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
ऑफिशियल स्टेटमेंट में बोला है कि उड़ीसा मिलेट मिशन को अदर स्टेट्स को भी अडॉप्ट करना चाहिए, इसकी जो बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस है। वर्ल्ड फूड प्रोग्राम ने भी ऑफिसली बोला है कि उड़ीसा मिलेट मिशन साउथ अफ्रीकन कंट्री जहां पे स्पेशली मिलेट्स और ज्यादा होते हैं, दे शुड आल्सो लर्न फ्रॉम उड़ीसा मिलेट मिशन। Third thing, what I would like to say about the Odisha Millet Mission is community participation. This is not being implemented by government officials. We have a program secretariat called Vasan. They are like a PMU. PMU other schemes के लिए select होते हैं through a bidding process जिसमें आप consultant रखते हैं. हमने एक ऐसा organization रखा जो बहुत dedicated था this kind of work के लिए. So program secretariat and research organization. This is two things we have at the state level. जो research organization का है जिसको आप knowledge partner बोल सकते हैं. They do evaluations every year and submit us report. The policy में implementation में what problems we have, what mid-course correction we should do every year, and then every district selected facilitating agencies, basically NGOs and FPOs. तो ये भी एक कॉन्शियस डिसीजन था कि गवर्नमेंट मशीनरी से इसको हम अलग कैसे इम्प्लीमेंट करें, बिकॉज वी हैव सीन लॉट ऑफ प्रोग्राम्स दैट हैज बीन नॉट इम्प्लीमेंटेड सक्सेसफुली. कम्युनिटी के साथ जब भी हम एक नए ईयर का प्लानिंग करते हैं तो हम कम्युनिटी के साथ बैठते हैं, उनसे बातें करते हैं, विमेन एसएचजी को इन्वॉल्व करते हैं और फिर पूरा प्रोग्राम सेट होता है. इस साल के टारगेट्स कौन है, कौन करेगा, क्लस्टर्स में कहाँ करा जाएगा, सीड प्रोडक्शन कौन करेगा, बाई बैग कैसे करे जाएंगे, बाई बैग सेंटर के साथ कैसे इसको लिंक करा जाएगा, एंड पेमेंट एवरीथिंग गोज ऑनलाइन डीबीटी टू द फार्मर्स अकाउंट. देन सीड का सप्लाई का प्लान सेंट्रली करा जाता है. वी डू these seed supplies through our corporations. PDS distribution में procurement, storage and then PDS distribution एक time bound manner से करा जाता है. These are the things we have been doing since last year. Then it was decided कि we will create lot of FPOs because not only finger millet. Now we should focus on other millets and we should produce for the market because now the demand is growing and lot of people, because of awareness and other things, lot of people are interested and they want to eat millets. Then we started diversification. After Kharif, Ragi basically Odisha में Kharif में होता है. Rabi में then we started कि non-Ragi millets we will promote. And from this year, earlier it was limited to 19 districts. Now we have covered all the districts. कि हर district को millet mission से connect करेंगे. And then we started this FPO का formation. Now we have around 90 FPOs in millet mission, and now we are going to provide them millet service centers. तो millet service center का concept है all kind of machines starting from the seed bank. All the machines which require the cultivation, production, and then processing, and then packaging it, so that we can tie up with the industry partners, and these FPOs can produce, process, and package as per the requirement of these companies. And while doing so, they should not do lot of expenditure from their pocket, otherwise the entire thing would not be very viable. Because company अगर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन या स्टार्टअप्स अगर कुछ उनका रेट फिक्स होगा, अगर उससे ज्यादा तो खरीदेंगे नहीं. अगर एफपीओ ज्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट करता है देन देयर विल नॉट बी अ वायबिलिटी. सो दिस इज द थिंग वी आर ट्राइंग एंड वी हैव बीन डिस्कसिंग विद लॉट ऑफ एफपीओस सिंस लास्ट 7-8 months and there is good success also. Then a small thing for International Year of Millets, how we are trying to popularize and promote. International Year of Millets में हमने बहुत सारी activities करी. We thought only two things: how to convince our doctor and how to convince our mothers. If farmer के लिए there are 3 stakeholders basically. I would say फार्मर्स के लिए जो भी करना था, पीडीएस में उनको वापस खिलाना, उनका बाई बैक करना, उनको डिमॉन्स्ट्रेशन के लिए पैसे देना, डायरेक्ट डीबीटी में देना, दैट Odisha government has been doing since 2017. Now how to popularize? So we target two groups basically. स्कूल के साथ भी हमने एक्टिविटी स्टार्ट की. पहला हमने मदर्स को कोशिश किया. सो वी स्टार्टेड मदर मिलेट इवेंट. मदर मिलेट इवेंट बेसिकली जितने हमारे RWAs हैं या इस तरह के ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैं, वी अप्रोच एंड वी कंडक्ट अ काइंड ऑफ कंपटीशन. वी इन्वॉल्व आवर विमेन्स हाउस, बेसिकली हाउस वाइफ्स. उनको अवेयर करा जाता है, वी अवेयर देम एंड देन वी कंडक्ट अ कंपटीशन. And then we award. It's a kind of optics. It's award doesn't have a value, but through this we are trying to convey a message that millets are very rich and nutritious for the children. और हमारे मदर मिलेट इवेंट का एक ही लोगो है, एक ही थीम है. 1 glass ragi is equal to 3 glass of milk. The calcium what we get from the ragi, 1 glass पीने से वो 3 glass मिल्क के बराबर है. So I think we thought and we deliberated कि this is a good enough to convince a mother कि बच्चे को बोले कि नहीं तो रागी ही पिलाऊंगी तुमको, उसका रागी का शेक ही पिलाऊंगी. So this is how we tried, and I think in Bhubaneswar and all corporation it is going very successfully. We did lot of event across the villages, in shopping complexes, shopping malls, and now there is a good प्रोग्रेस ऑन दैट. स्कूल के साथ भी हम लोगों ने बहुत सारा इवेंट किया. वी कंडक्टेड बच्चों के साथ वर्कशॉप करी. बिकॉज इफ आई वुड से अगर आप बच्चों को आज की जाके स्कूल में पूछेंगे कि व्हाट इज रागी, मेनी ऑफ देम वुड नॉट बी एबल टू एक्सप्लेन. उन्होंने देखा भी नहीं होगा, चावल ही देखा होगा, गेहूं की रोटियां देखी होंगी, बाजरा, ज्वार, कोदो, सोमा, दे आई डोंट नो. सो वी स्टार्टेड अ वेल प्रोग्राम्ड event in the schools. First we deliberated with the school education department कि बच्चों को कैसे क्विजेस कराएंगे, कैसे कंपटीशन कराएंगे, how they will prepare note. Even we developed some games also, like सांप सीढ़ी का गेम होता है, वैसे हमने एक गेम भी डेवलप किया है कि मिलेट का, जैसे ये मिलेट खाने से कितनी पावर आती है तो ये सुपर हीरो ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग हो जाएगा, तो आप सांप सीढ़ी जैसे खेलते हैं वैसे बच्चों के लिए हमने गेम भी डेवलप किया है. So that it could be very interactive for them. And then we also think कि nearby schools, गांव के स्पेशली जहाँ पे हैं, अगर बच्चों को फील्ड में घुमाया जा सके, जहाँ दिखाया जा सके this is a finger millet, this is foxtail, this is millet. So they basically will have a knowledge. And now we are organizing international convention on the millets with help of Ficci. Ficci is our partner in that. And FPO, World Food Program, or many Rome-based agencies are collaborating with us. A lot of CIR institution has taken their responsibility that they will curate 1 session. And in that also we have a program that students will participate for 2-3 sessions. So, and then recently this doctor community. Recently we had a good workshop, a full day workshop with the health department. All private hospitals in the Bhubaneswar, they have participated. Government directorates regarding research, regarding training, medical training, everyone had participated, because when we approached them, they were also having a lot of issues कि क्या है मिलेट, हमारे पास बहुत सारा लिटरेचर नहीं है. Some was pro, some was not very pro. Then we decided we have a full day workshop. And then now almost of every one of them has convinced, and हम अभी हमारे जो गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल्स हैं उसमें भी है, all government hospitals having patient canteens. So it has been decided कि patient food में this millet will be included. And private hospital they also convinced कि हम अपने patient diet में millets रखेंगे. So what I am trying to say, प्रोडक्शन के बाद डिमांड क्रिएशन भी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अदरवाइज आवर फार्मर्स will get reasonable profit, reasonable prices for their produce. So with doctors, mothers, and these school education department, we are trying to create that buzz also. And अभी हमने सारे हमारा जो होटल एसोसिएशन है थ्रू टूरिज्म डिपार्टमेंट, उनके साथ में हमने बहुत सारे वर्कशॉप किए. We have given training to their chefs also, how to curate dishes, millet dishes. We have, for a month, we have supplied these cookies and one good message on millets, and it has been kept throughout the state in OTDC's rooms. Like आप जैसे कम्प्लीमेंट्री रखते हैं, तो वो हमने अपनी तरफ से दिया ताकि उनका जो वेस्ट जाए उसको भी एक मैसेज मिले और उसको मिलेट की कुकीज मिले। उनके साथ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, lot of things we are doing. So these are some learnings and some experience sharing from the Odisha Millet Mission, and I am very sure there are some good practices which other states, other stakeholders can learn from us. And I am very delighted कि आज के workshop में I would be listening many of you, and I am very sure कि there must be some good things which will be takeaway for me, and definitely will try कि हम अपने मिलेट मिशन में इसको कैसे incorporate करेंगे. And again I am thanking Ficci to giving me this opportunity to be here. Thank you, and सबको मेरा बहुत बहुत नमस्कार, धन्यवाद, जय हिंद.
Thanks a lot, Sri Premchand Sri. Actually, I think we should be thanking you and we should be thanking us because you know the kind of work done by Master. And the amount of, I think you brought something like 75,000 people. I mean, it's not small number. It's a really, really big number. Amazing. And you know, there's another thing which we just wanted to, before I go to the next speaker, something I want to talk about it. I don't know how many people in my age group, definitely, when we were younger, we used to have ragi malt as drink. We did not have all these horlicks and Bonvita at that time. I don't know how many people recall. And suddenly these things came and the people would expect and this ragi malt went out of the trend. So I think what really happens is how to hold on to your traditional values is also equally important. Sir, one question I have for you before we get things today, across India, midday meal or the morning breakfast scheme is becoming common. The question always comes up is why can't we introduce millets straight away? And so that when the kids start growing up, they start tasting millets. And
Thank you, Keshav. During actually Odisha Millet Mission, there are a lot of things I forget to mention this. With ST department schools, these hostels, we have already started this. For midday meal, we started last year piloting in 2 districts, Keonjhar and Sundargarh, and somehow it is good only. The issue is currently with us how to take, because the requirement is so huge to taking millets in the midday meal, because our production now, as I told, we are producing, we are procuring and we are supplying it to the MSP, to the PDS, through to the families that so that they can utilize it. So we are just expanding our area, and I am very sure as we started in 2 districts, in coming years we will scale it up in other districts that we started.
thank you, sir. Actually, I'm really looking at this as an all India initiative because it also gives, it just increases the demand for millets. So that's a big advantage when it comes to that. And another thing people tend to forget is, you know, I think in the morning we talked about how we think that millets are for the animals. Oats were used to be like that. Oats were eaten by the horses. And then finally we started eating, we thought that's the best thing to happen in life. So I think this circle happens in the world of.
I am very sure this is going to happen. And one important thing, we are also trying that this millets will be in the school curriculum. So we have given a draft to our state agriculture university to vet it. After vetting that draft, we are sending it to the education department so that they can improve. Because if you make it to sustain, it should go to the children, because they are, if they don't carry this, if they attract to the other kind of foods, if they don't know how valuable is this for their health and for future, then keeping it sustainable would not going to happen. So we are trying that it should be with the children and they will adopt, and the new generation will be more fitter and fine.
Thanks a lot, sir. I think we wish you all the best in this mission. Another, quickly before I move to the next speaker, one thing I want to talk about is if you look at all India, the farmers who run for cash crops get into bigger problems. Whereas we look at places in Rajasthan, etc., where because there are multiple crops, they also have breeding of animals. That combination sustains much better. So the integrated, what we talk about integrated, and millets plays a huge part in it. And it also, when it comes to that, when you have intercrops, the advantage it becomes immediately becomes the animal feed. People don't realize because then you don't get into other fields. So question is how do you educate them? So thank you for saying all this. Coming back to, I go to Dr. Tara Satyavati ji, Director ICAIMR. I think he is on me. Can you please connect her? There she is. Ma'am, you
can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Ma'am, you heard Sri Premchandra ji talking about the importance of millets. I'm really going to come back to you basically because, see, you work on millet, your project coordinator for millet in the ICA, and you did work on pearl millet in Rajasthan, and we just talked about Rajasthan. And the question here always comes to my mind is, in the morning also people talked about it. Per acre or per hectare productivity of millet and this farmer's earning. I really want to understand how ICAR is actually able to work on this. I know some of these things are not going to happen in one day. It's going to take time. But it's important to somewhere prove them that. And farmers need to understand everything is a cost. Water is also a cost. When you have it, you flood it. You don't even realize the cost. But when you don't have it, you can do nothing about it. So if farmers start understanding everything is a cost, and on that basis, you get into the millets. I really want to hear from you, ma'am. How do you think we can convert a large land in India, let's say arid lands, where you don't have too much of rain, but also give that farmers and tribals the money earning capacity so that, like we said, tomorrow we want to start across the India. We said, okay, midday meal में एक dish तो millet से होगा, उसके लिए हमको millet चाहिए, and this is where we can properly develop it. So I want to know what ICAR can help in this direction, and what is your experience with this direction. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kesavanji. May share some of my slides so that it will be easy for people to follow what I'm going to say. Are you able to see my slides?
No.
Hello?
No, we are not able to see. Now we are able to. Yes.
Okay then. So, I was approached with this point that I need to speak a little bit on how we are going to position India as the global hub for millets. So, sir, I just would like to touch upon that India is leading the way to International Year of Millets, and you all know that Government of India has proposed United Nations for declaring year 2023 as International Year of Millets, and this proposal was supported by 72 countries. And UNGA has declared 2023 as International Year of Millets on 5th March 2021. And Government of India has decided to celebrate International Year of Millets 2023 to make it people's movement. This is the point we need to understand so that the millets, recipes, value-added products are accepted globally. So this is what even my previous speaker, Shri Premchandra Chaudhary also tried to put in different aspects. So for the benefit of the audience, the most common millets are the small seeded grasses which are grown for food and fodder. And the major millets we have in India, pearl millet, that is bajra, jowar, that is sorghum, ragi, finger millet. Then other small millets, minor millets are, we have proso millet, foxtail millet, barnyard millet, little millet, koda millet and brown top millet. Because of the nutritional benefits of these millets, the Government of India has renamed them as nutricereals for production, consumption and trade point of view. But Gazette notification that was issued way back in 13th April in 2018. So if you see, why are millets so, why are we talking about them? If you see the unique selling properties of millets, they're good for climate, they're good for human, they're also good for farmers and also promote nutritional security because they are faster and they have shorter life cycles. They can be grown organically, requiring minimal fertilizers and pesticides. They survive in low water and nutrients. They need less rainfall. And for farmers, they can withstand harsh environments, drought, dry heat, and all these things. Apart from food, they can be used as feed, fodder, biofuel, etc. And for human health, because they are rich in nutrients like iron, zinc, calcium. Calcium already mentioned by Sri Prem Chandra Chaudhary ji. And because they also have this low glycemic index, they're gluten free, they're high in protein, vitamin B, rich in polyphenols, phytohormones. Because of all these things, they're also good for human health. The various benefits of millets are they are beneficial in detoxifying the body, they lower the bad cholesterol, they prevent the onset of breast cancer, they help to prevent type 2 diabetes, they're effective in reducing blood pressure, they help to protect you against heart diseases, they aid in treating respiratory conditions, they help to optimize your kidney, liver, and immune system. They reduce the risk of gastrointestinal conditions like ulcers and colon cancers, and they also eliminate the problems like constipation, gas, bloating, and cramping. So, because of these good nutritional properties and benefits for the human health, already they have been declared as nutriceuticals in 2018, followed by declaring 2018 as the National Year of Millets. And then in 1819, a submission was implemented under the National Food Security Mission in 212 districts and 14 states. And in 1819, 25 seed hubs and 18 breeder seed production centers were established. And in 2021, United Nations General Assembly has declared 2023 as the International Year of Millets, and 2022, 378 FPOs and 500 startups. They have functioned within the millet value chains. So, apart from this, the Government of India has taken up a seven-pronged approach, and you know that already they are popularizing the nutritional and health benefits, value addition, processing and recipe development, international outreach, awareness creation, branding, labeling, promotion, policy interventions for mainstreaming the millets, enhancement of production productivity, entrepreneurship, startup, and collective development. So, with these things all in mind, the millets have been rebranded as Shri Anna by none other than our Honorable Prime Minister and Finance Minister. If you see, they are the medium for holistic development for the country. They are linking villages and the poor, and they are also a door to prosperity for the small farmers of the country. They are facilitating tribal communities. They are huge help in fighting the climate change, and they are a big foundation for chemical-free farming. Because of all these things, they have been rebranded as Shri Anna. And Honorable Prime Minister of India has dedicated ICR, Indian Institute of Millet Research, as the Global Center of Excellence on Millets on 18th March 2023 in the Global Center of Excellence on Millets and the Shri Anna Conference. So coming to the statistics, at present the global millet production is about nearly 89.2 million tons and coming from 74 million hectares, and 90% of these total millets are coming from sorghum and pearl millet. India is contributing to 20% of the total global millet production, and India is the fifth largest exporter of millets. If you look into the global scenario, this is the thing, and from the production and productivity perspective, if the global average yields of millets are 1271 kg per hectare, we are at 1352 kg per hectare. And millets are important staple grains for farmers in the developing world's hotter and drier areas, particularly Africa and Asia. So these are the different countries which are growing millets, and around 590 million people are already feeding on millets. In India, the major states growing millets are Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Karnataka, UP, and there is about 13.63 million hectare area under millets with a production of 18.02 million tons. And India is the top first producer of barnyard millet, finger millet, kodo millet, little millet, and pearl millet. So if you look, these are the different states where we have different millets that are cultivated throughout the India. But if you look on the area basis and production basis, pearl millet, that is bajra, is the major millet, followed by sorghum and small millets in area and also production perspective also. Bajra is contributing 60% and sorghum 27.6% and ragi 10.2% of the total millets and small millets 2.1%. And now you have asked me a question, how the farmers are going to be benefited, because see, already the Indian millets have reached the global market. You see in USA, these are our companies, our Indian companies which are selling millets and millet products. Here in Africa, in various parts of the world, already our presence is felt. Because of the availability of different technological interventions like processing for biscuits or all other advanced modern day food products through millets, we are able to develop many products that are being exported. These are different products that are being prepared from millets, and these are different value-added products that are already available in the market and are going to international market as well. Here I will focus on what are the factors that are driving millet trade. Here one thing is growing inclination towards a healthy food, sustainable cultivation methods, low carbon footprints, high nutrition value, and because millets are already identified as conferring health benefits, and we have many value-added products, seed sector, millet starch, beverages, all these things. Apart from these, millets are mainly grown on low input conditions. By default, they are organically grown, and because they do not have the gluten, and the entire world is looking for gluten-free foods and organically grown foods. So millets, they have a big scope. If you see the millet ecosystem here, we already have this many startups, different millet missions. Odisha Millet Mission is very famous and popular because already we heard from Sri Premchandra Chaudhary ji how Odisha is taking up all these things, and also through different FPOs and many recipes, processing machineries available. Already India is gearing up for promoting these millets and doing this. For the benefit of the house, I just want to bring to their knowledge. There is a study taken by World Bank Health Indicator and Industry Discussions that was held in 2021. The reports were recently out. They say that by 2030, there will be 377 million persons who will be diabetic, 560 million persons who are anemic, and if that is so, the intake of millet should be this much, and if they are taken for 3 months, that is 90 days, and then even if we target 5% of the total diabetic and anemic population of this projected figures, we would be needing 1,69,694 metric tons of millets, and this much for anemic people. That means even with this statistics, we have to see how much we have to go for increasing the production and productivity, and how much demand is created. Apart from the things what my previous speaker has told, even at the global level, there is going to be a big demand for millets. So there is definitely a big market, big scope, and big future for these millets. So these are the different countries which would be contributing for additional millet consumption based on the health segment. This is only said till 2030. If we Again, if some studies are conducted, and if you can get some more data, we can see how much millets have to be produced and how much millets will be consumed. So there is definitely possibility for millet farmers to have additional incomes. Apart from this, from ICR, from Indian Institute of Millet Research, we are having a number of varieties for different millets, hybrids for different millets, which would be giving high production and productivities. That would really benefit the farmer through increased yield and produce. So that's all I would like to say, sir, that these are going to be the future crops and future cash crops for the farmers. So thank you, Ficci, for giving me this opportunity. Once again, thank you. So this is the data for millet exports. There is a steady increase of 7% exports, and you can see how the millet value, export value is increasing and volume is also increasing. And these are the exports and projections. In 2018, in the Asia Pacific market, the millet market was $3,851 million US. And by 2027, it is projected to be $5,653 million US. In the Middle East and Africa markets, these are the projections. In the European markets, again, this is the projection. In the North American markets, this is the projection. South and Central American region, this is the projection. Already, many projections have been made by different studies, and there is going to be a huge market and demand for these millets.
Thank you.
So,
actually, one other thing we can do is I'm requesting Ficci to take the presentation and also circulate it, because I think a lot of data is available here and it's going to be extremely useful. And really thankful that you really took that kind of pain to make this presentation and explain. And really happy to note that the millets are going to be the new areas in the future. I'm not really looking forward to having all the current areas getting quickly slowly by. I come to you, I think probably will be the right time to talk about it towards the end. What I'm now requesting is Dr. Mansurta. I'm going to request him because he is a principal scientist, seed systems and scaling. Now, the scaling is a lovely word I like, because that is one of the biggest problems in agriculture. Getting scale up is always a thing. So, what I really want to understand, Doctor, is considering that you have been in the agricultural research and development, and you've also been working on dryland crops quite a bit, and you have been also involved in some of the real delivery technologies. Your experience on millet, and again I'm going back to the same question, how will I increase the millet production, and how will also we ensure that farmers think that they get better savings from millet than the other seed? Over to you, sir. Please. I'm trying to do this from 10 minutes, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Ficci, for inviting ICISAT. ICISAT is an international organization working on research on dryland crops and also millets. We work on finger millet, sorghum, and pearl millet. So, I think a lot of things have been already spoken about the scope of millets, future, and how important they are going to be in this situation where climate change is already happening, and what are the what would be the role of these millets to contribute to the collective efforts on empowering smallholder farmers and hunger. A lot of things we already know. I think what I would like to give perspective about is, because I come from a research organization, so I may be more inclined towards how research can contribute to mainstreaming of millets in future. We know the millets had been once an important part of our dietary behaviors, like systems, and once we had crops like rice, wheat, and others coming in, and the dietary habits shifted towards those crops. But when we talk about those things, I think when we talk about scaling, millets, I think we need to understand and keep in our minds about the food security, which is very important. Rice, wheat, when they came, they actually addressed to the food security issues. Otherwise, there were a lot of famines. People would have died. So we cannot take that credit away from the Green Revolution. So coming back to the millets, I think we have understood, as Director Agriculture already mentioned, that we can't grow millets everywhere. There is this niche. There are some areas which are rain-fed, which suit to millets very much. We cannot grow millets in the areas where rice can be more productive and profitable. So profitability and productivity is very important. So we can't just force farmers to go for millets unless that millets gives them the kind of incentives they get from the other crops. Otherwise, it may not be a sustainable option. So we can only target those areas where millets are very suitable for. Millets can be, there could be market opportunities, there could be opportunities for value addition, and also support from the governments, as Director Agriculture also mentioned, the status of Odisha Millet Mission, which is an example for us. So we know that they have been traditionally nutritious and climate resilient. I'm a little bit worried about now using this word of climate resilient because Dr. Father in the morning did not like using this word. He said it has to be only food, but I think if it has to be only food, then food security has to be also considered. So we will have to have enough food for the growing populations, and I don't think just talking about millets and producing millets would have that much option. So what researchers can do and are trying to do, because as Director IAMR also mentioned about improving productivity and production, there are so many issues with the millets that people talk about. Its palatability. People say it's not good to eat. It doesn't have a good taste. We can't make millet-based products very easily. Rancidity in pearl millet flour. But how can research address to those issues? And there's huge research going on in ICRISAT as well as in IMR, where researchers are trying to improve the climate resilience. They naturally are climate resilient, but they are improving their climate resilience in view of the situation where water is depleting, water levels are depleting, climate is changing, dry environment is becoming very common. They're also trying to make them more nutritious, which is very important. As I will again quote the director, because they are pushing all production to their public, distribution system and going to the school as midday meals, and they have to be very nutritious. So scientists are trying to add nutrition and improve on the productivity, and also work on some of the issues like rancidity. Why all of us are using wheat flour in our homes just because the dough is very easy to use, right? But if we have pearl millet, there's an issue of rancidity. We can't do that. So science is trying to address those issues. The moment we are able to make use of the dough from pearl millet in the same way as we use the wheat flour, I think a lot of issues can be already resolved. So we have to invest in research so that we have better products. When we have better products, I think our job of scaling them and mainstreaming them becomes very easier and very convenient. We will have otherwise challenges for startups. We will have otherwise challenges for companies who are want to sell these products, and we will have challenges for all value chain stakeholders. So, in nutshell, if I want to just summarize how, we can position ourselves, the good thing is that India has taken a stand, and so rightfully that, the lot of awareness that has been created during this year and will continue, after this. I was so happy to hear from Mr. Chaudhary, Director Agriculture in Odisha, that they are adding actually some of the lessons about this in the curriculum of students. So that is something we need to do at a national level as well. So we have to create that opportunity, and we have to invest in research and development so that we have better varieties, better varieties and better processing methods. So a lot of investment is needed. The policy support, as we would need people to come forward, and they will need support for infrastructure, value addition, processing, other units. Market is very important, as we know that we can use the production for our public procurement programs, and also collaborate with food industry. International collaboration also becomes very important. We are the largest millet growing country, and world can learn from us, and we need to collaborate internationally how we can take the millets to the rest of the world. If I have to give one example of how we can achieve success in mainstreaming the millets, I would again cite an example of Odisha. I'm not saying it because a director is sitting here. I have been working in Odisha for the last 15 years and have been closely associated with Odisha agriculture development. Initially, when I was in Kiri, working on rice, and now on millets and grain crops. Few things which I also want to add what director said is, because it has a research touch, that's why I just want to reiterate that Odisha Millet Mission only does the work which director has already stated. They also have a research element in that, and they invest in that. They have gene banks, and they have exploited all the genetic material, and evaluating them in participation with the farmers in these tribal districts, and actually have found some of the land races are better than even the release varieties. And so they're investing in research. They have very recently developed SOPs for bringing land races, or for that matter, traditional varieties into seed value chain, which is I work for seed. I think it's a historic decision, because for farmers, maintaining the seed quality of traditional varieties becomes a challenge, and that can lead to reduced productivity. So bringing those land races into formal seed chain, where we will have breeder seed, foundation seed, and certified seed that can be available for those farmers, I really appreciate that one. So this, I come from research organization, and I see that there are a lot of opportunities to really develop nutri-cereals, starting from research till market development. So this is all I wanted to share. So if there is any question, please share. Thank you very much.
Actually, you have to clarify that point that we're not really trying to replace rice and wheat with millet, but I think we're going to supplement it. But what I think we also need to remember is, we actually spoil the rice, in the sense that more whiter, we started liking it more. That itself is the biggest mistake we have done. Really go back 2 generations, we used to hand powder rice, we still had all the fibers. And we said, हमको एकदम maybe the ideal place for growing millets and foods like that. I think you people have been doing it quite a bit. So this, I think this is something learning. I think this is something I think we need to learn from Orissa, saying that can you map villages and say what is the best crop I can grow and you'll have the maximum benefit?
That is a part of our strategy in Odisha nutrition, and that is being done through that participatory planning and all. And what Dr. Manjurdar ji has said, identification of land races, that was the part of that entire schema. So we have identified 158 land races under millets, and 4 land races has recently been released in the seed system. So if I am not wrong, no country has done it. Not even the states, no country in the planet has released any land races in the mainstream seed system. So that achievement is not only Odisha government, it's a collaborative effort. A lot of research organization and many people have been collaborating for this. So this thing also should be replicated other places, because this means that our land races are performing better than some of the certified varieties. So which was not previously accepted. So that we could say that was also a myth that has been broken with this land seed release. Thank you.
Thank you. That's what I said. Every time I come back to Orissa because of the kind of work you people have done. Now I'm going to go to Dr. R. Dilavagan, right? And now I think we're now going to talk to somebody who's slightly different. I mean, he represents Hindustan, but he is the analytical stability science capability leader, nutrition, South Asia, Hindustan level. Now, you did PhD in dairy microbiology, and you work with the National Dairy Research Institute with almost 25 years plus experience. Now, the question here is, when it comes to millet, I genuinely want to know how does Hindustan Lever look at millet, and what are you going to do for millet, not only for India, for the worldwide. That'll be the question I'll be asking you, but you can free to take that as you go. Thank you, sir. Please. Please.
Very good afternoon to everyone. Lot of words are spoken about millets, and it came from experts more than, of course, it will be immature if I talk the basic aspects about millet. But still, I want to bring a little different perspective from the industry. Like sir was just asking me how really represent it. Before answering that question, I would like to just kind of touch upon the industry perspective, not going so much into the primary production and the primary processing aspects of it, but industry aspect. So, of course, Director I just mentioned that India is uniquely positioned, as the largest producer of millet, almost 20%, and if you take in Asia, it is about 80% of production comes from India. And also, millet is also called as, you have many names to millet nowadays, superfoods and nutritionals, and you have many different names. Why we say that? Because millet comes with a lot of nutrients. It has got vitamins, it has got minerals, and it has got huge amount of dietary fibers. It comes with plenty of goodies. So there is a huge potential to tap the natural resources available to millet, and of course, millet being really highly nutritious, and once upon a time it was known as a poor man's diet. Now it is considered trendy food, because some of the recent market research, if you look at it, and everyone considers, and there is a dichotomy also. Like if somebody says millet, and people show interest, but if you take the name of millet, specific millet, they kind of withdraw that interest. So there's an element of awareness is also required to educate the consumers about the benefits of millet. So from industry perspective, therefore I thought that other than the primary production aspects, there are 4 important pillars which I believe that is important to popularize, and then I would say once upon a time millet was having a huge popularity, so which means to gaining re-entry into the mainstream is the right word, I would say. So the first one is the future technology. So when you talk about technology, like for example, if any product, any millet containing product where you have added millet, through starting from primary processing and all those dehulling and all, debranding, whatever. So then you add to the product and then you make the product. There is a drop in the value, nutritive value. So I would say that future technology should address these issues. Some of the experts have already mentioned, the huge amount of dietary flavors come through. And if I took the example of oats, the oats is kind of riding on only one, compound, which becomes soluble fiber, and it's a huge market worldwide. So, and we all know that millet has got a huge amount of fiber, soluble, insoluble both together. And have we tapped that resource? That's a question that we should be asking. So the technology, future technology should address those aspects, making it more viable and also unlocking the cost, because the processing units are small and they are low on the technology, and then they also require a good quality system. So those are the areas I feel will go a long way in tapping the potentials and its true nutritive value in the days going forward. The second point I want to touch upon is the science-led health claims. And again, some of the experts have touched upon that. Even I am not director, briefly highlighted a lot of health benefits. So you start from everything, starting from diabetes to all lifestyle diseases, cancer, and even people who are sensitive to gluten, and all the millets are gluten-free and low GI. These health benefits, when these millets incorporated into the food value chain, and do we have very strong clinically studied or clinically proven claims which really will enhance the value of these food products. So I think that's another area that we as an industry has to look into it. How can we enhance this image and the branding of these products by doing the right amount of studies, scientifically backed up and also documented, so that the future generation can use it also. That's another area I think we got to give attention and focus. And the third is probably slightly, it's very important in terms of having the world-class quality system. What I mean by saying world-class quality system for the industry, which is dealing with millet, is that you got to have the nutritional standards. Like if you are competing in the global scenario and you want to make truly India as a global player in the and the hub for the world. So we got to have that kind of standards in place, and we should know what we are adding. If I'm adding the millet into the product, and we should be able to quantify those markets, and I should be able to substantiate the stronger and powerful claims. So to that extent, I think having the nutritive standards, not only nutritional standards, but also having safety standards and also contaminants and so on and so forth. Those are the areas I think there are gaps. I think we as an ecosystem, along with the regulators, along with the industry and academia and researchers, come together and build that kind of I would say knowledge base. So that's the third pillar. And the fourth, there are more, but then the last one which I will touch upon is the industry and scientific community partnership. Again, this was kind of highlighted before me, which is extremely important because the technological challenges the industry is facing is basically the product sensorial and stability. So the palatability is a very important criteria here. Often this is what you hear. The more you add millets, the palatability changes. So if you could have a product where using the technology, and if you can have a tasty product at the same time, you can give enormous health claims. That's going to be a sweet spot and a great story. So I think it's only possible if industry comes and collaborates with the researchers, and we all know that there's fantastic work being done by IMR, COPI and other institutes, and they have published a lot of information. There are patents available, there are clinical studies happening. So I think that becomes extremely important and imperative. So these are the four pillars I think will really go a long way in terms of the specific question that you asked, sir, as a company, of course, we are also shifting our focus into millets, and we recognize the fact that these are, we are one of the strong players in the nutrition platform. We always try to give the best nutrition possible, and we have started a journey, and then we have a couple of products available in the market where we are trying to incorporate a good amount of millets. At the same time, we would like to keep the product tasty and also healthy. That's important. And also, we should have a reasonable shelf life so that consumers has the pleasure of having it over a period of time. So I come from R&D, and of course my colleagues are also here, so they work on the product development. So we strive to match this balance in terms of having a good product at the same time benefits. The key is that you need to have the right amount of millets into the processed foods, because just merely adding millet itself is not going to make the product nutritious. You need to have the right quantity, and also you need to ensure that the amount that you add also comes with the nutrients that are required for the consumers, like the dietary fiber, for example, or the minerals, because we all know that there are a huge amount of minerals. So, and also bioavailability of these minerals is also enormous when we take millets. So, the millet containing products. So, with that, I will close my talk. Thank you so much. Thanks for giving this opportunity.
But before that, the one point I just wanted to see, the one thing is always, is that actually got an event sorting? Something like a event that you talked about. I think it has got the pluses and the minuses. What really happens is sometimes, this really happens, we had a very critical question happening in bananas. Should I keep the bananas with the local taste, or really start driving for a different parameter? I think it's going to be a very difficult decision, and sometimes I feel when you convert it into, when you really convert that basic product into a processed product, maybe that's where we should worry about it. Otherwise, it's going to be a very difficult situation when it comes to farmers. Yes, absolutely. And you have a question? Yes. With this, because I just want to clarify it. Otherwise, we'll be driving farmers in a different direction.
No, it's very specific to the industry.
Yeah, for your industry valuation makes sense. And Manta, I'll just come back to you after I take 10 minutes, and then I think you may have one or two questions. Doesn't matter. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon. So I'm the man between you and food. That's what we do. We convert the agriculture output into food through the brand Just Organic. So what we do is that this agriculture output coming in, we do the primary processing, grading, sorting, cleaning. It's a lot of job. And after that, the work starts, when we start converting it into a processed food. So we convert it into the primary food, we pack it, we create the traceability, we create the visibility in terms of for the consumers, so that consumers can start seeing that what is this food, these are basic food, What Westerners call it as ingredient, for Indians it's the food. We talk about pulses, we talk about millets, we talk about flours. These are not ingredients, these are the food. So this is what we do. We started 10 years back. At that time, sustainability was the core. So the whole idea about Just Organic, Trith Agro Private Limited as the company, the Just Organic, the whole idea was the sustainability. And every product that we came out with, so we are based out of Uttarakhand, and main working area is Uttarakhand, where we are working with a lot of small and marginal farmers. And when we started doing that, combining and having these farmers on board, the farmers were growing a lot of millets. So generally, Uttarakhand doesn't appear into this millet table per se, but Uttarakhand has been growing a lot of millets, and I was just seeing this statistic. Uttarakhand is number 10 in terms of the state that grow millet. So Uttarakhand has been growing a lot of millets, but there were no consumption. So other than the local consumption, there was no consumption. When we were taking these farmers on board, the biggest challenge that we faced was that they were not ready to grow anything else, because they had always been growing this ragi, amran, buckwheat, etc. So what to do with that? I think the first time ever I came across the demand for millet was were no millets available to process that time. And even if we were processing, there were no buyers. So we were talking about 100 kilo, maybe 150 kilo a month. That kind of consumption. Again, fast forward 5 years. I am very, very glad that now we entered into this international year of millet. The consumption has been rising rapidly, very, very rapidly. The demand has been rising, not only in the domestic market but also in the export market. And but we still continue to struggle with some of the basic things, and I think this is where I would again, in every forum, I try and draw that attention, because किसान भाई लोग भी यहाँ पे बैठे हुए हैं. जो प्रॉब्लम लगातार आती है, लगातार फेस होती है, स्पेसिफिक विद द मिलेट्स, is basically the consistency and the quality. So despite having the best of the processing infrastructure that we have, till the time we do not have the best of the product coming out from the fields, from the farms, we are not going to go there, especially from the export market perspective, because the basic things, we have to start treating millets also as the rice, as the paddy. So the problems that paddy over the last 20-30 years, the rice industry has been able to overcome, is now being faced by the millets. Especially in the export market, there are so many rejections of the consignment that are happening because not being able to meet the basic parameters of aflatoxins, of the heavy metals, and certain other things that can very well be controlled at the farm level or at the primary processing level. Having said so, I see a very, very bright future for millets. The journey has just started, and the kind of consumption and the demand that we are seeing in the market, it's just going to grow up. The only thing that we have to ensure that we do not fall into the trap of having just a lot of cultivation, a lot of produce coming from the same field. We do it gradually, we do it organically, so that the intrinsic quality for which the millets are being used, the millets are being used for the intrinsic quality, the micronutrients that are present there, so that micronutrients are not affected. The moment we start using these fertilizers, pesticides, chemicals, we start killing all those intrinsic qualities. So we have to ensure that we do not fall into the trap where we have to take more crop per acre. Rather than doing that, we sort of continue increasing the pricing or the value, and the value should come in form of the basic millet rather than the value-added products of the millet that anyways is needed, because everyone wants to consume in a way that they want to consume. But I think that is the only thing that we have to be very clear as a nation, and if we do that, I'm pretty sure that India could become one of the biggest exporter. It is already second largest exporter, I guess, for the millets. It could become the largest exporter of the millets, and not only for the food but for the food. So with that, I think that's the mission that we are also carrying as Just Organic. We try and ensure that everything is organic. Millet is the part of the organic and the sustainability journey. So we continue working on that journey, and I think as a nation we just need to be aware and conscious of the fact that we do not fall into the trap of the chemicals and the drugs. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I have a question coming from Mamtaji. Before that, I want to ask one question to you. See, many a times we follow the standards of the world. Are we looking at creating a standard of India for millets?
May I answer?
Yes. Who's going to answer that?
Here, myself, Director MR.
All right. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I can see you here. Yeah.
Okay, so already we have developed the FSSAI standards for millets. So, as you have different standards for different crops, for millets also FSSAI standards have been developed, and they have been released by Honorable Prime Minister on 18th March. They are available now.
Ma'am, my question is slightly higher than that. I said that how will we make world follow our standards?
That's what I'm saying.
One of the biggest problems we are facing. It is we tend to follow the world standard and then somewhere trying to get our standards so that the world starts following ours. Because we need to really understand. I think something I'm really going to talk to all the so-called scientific minds in the world. Why should we? Because we sometimes lose the process as a reality. Because they dictate what they will buy.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not getting into an argument here, man. I think this is something I want to leave it to the world of scientists and the policy makers. I'm really happy today we have our own NCAP. After a long time we created our own NCAP because now we don't be. I think that's what India need to drive. We're sitting with 1.4 billion people, and if we don't drive our standard, and you depend on somebody else to drive the standard, they're going to decide what we will make and what we export. I mean, let me leave it like that. I mean, I know it's going to be a huge
I would just like to add, sir. I would just like to add one point. Just now, Pankaj Agarwalji has said that there are many intrinsic characters in the millets. Same thing, in pearl millet, you have high amounts of iron and zinc. As the release policy, for any promotion of the entry which comes for testing to be identified and released as a variety, we have fixed minimum standards. That is, any entry or variety which has to come through the system, it should have minimum 42 ppm of iron and 32 ppm of zinc. This was not done anywhere in the world in any of the crop. Pearl millet is the only crop which has that standard, and India is the first country to do that. So the point which you raised, that we are going to set the standard, yes, we are in that direction.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Very happy to hear that. Thank you. Your question, Mumtaz.
Yes, sir. We are now.
When I get me difficult questions, I go back to the government. I think you will be able to add much more value to say anything else.
There is no very clear-cut roadmap and very clear-cut answer for your question, but definitely it would going to happen because it's a cycle. So, few days back, millet was unknown to many of us. Take not more than 2-3 years back. I am giving an example of Bhuvneshwar. Even we could try to get something for millets. There was only a shop where we can get something, some processed or unprocessed thing of millet. Now it's almost available everywhere. Any a little bit good grocery shop you can get. The affordability is issue as of now because when the question about the inclusion of millet in midday meals was asked, then my reply was same. Because currently we are not producing enough millets, and that's how in every district we can't. We started with 2 districts. Now, Manjur Darji has said one thing in his speech, right? Unless it is giving some profit to the farmer, they are not going to take up and scale it. So this chain has to come. Now farmers are getting profit. Their market is approaching to them for buying millets. Nasik Miller Association, can you imagine? They have approached us that, sir, please have some kind of interface between your FPOs and we will come directly to your place and we will procure. So once this chain has these gaps can be linked up somehow, then the production will go, farmers will get more profit, they will start scaling up, and then slowly these prices will automatically go down. But it will take some time. It is not going that from next year everybody is start going and consuming millets. And one more thing, right now also the awareness level which should have the group of the level of the middle income group you are talking, it is also not reached to that level that they are searching for it. So, I am very sure that is not reached to up to that.
That's precisely my concern. After December 2023, are we going to forget all about?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because if we have not yet started looking.
No. This is a kind of trigger point you can say. But the process has started and I don't think it is going to reverse. It will go. The cycle has started.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Any questions? Yes.
My query is that Mazudar, see, in the millet sector, as what we are actually speaking about the nutritional value, honestly speaking, that is not at the optimum level even today. Now, ICRISAT, to the best of my knowledge, has produced a lot of fortified millet varieties. But as a matter of fact, They are not familiar in India, even not in many states. Now, is there any steps that you are taking? Because when you talk about the high iron content, high protein content, because you have some of the varieties that you have developed, it was released by the Honorable PM, if I am not wrong. But it is hardly seen anywhere in India, the varieties that farmers are growing. What could be the reason? And is there any steps that you are taking to popularize these fortified millets? And if in case if you can get it, the popularized so that this is maybe the one of the game changer in popularizing the millets worldwide. Please.
If I understand it correctly, I think you talk about pearl millet varieties like Anshakti, which were released as biofortified varieties. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Irrespective of the crops, one of the challenges that we need to understand about the traits that are not visible, right? So we do not have, at this point of time, we do not have incentives in the market for those varieties which claim to have more nutrition. So and for farmers, it is still not an important, non-negotiable trait that they would want to lose, if yield is not sufficient. So we may talk about, these traits, nutrition, and so many things, but farmers' first preference would be yield. So they will only adopt the varieties when they're satisfied with the yield. So I'm not saying that the yield factor would have for these varieties would have it. So I think it also needs a lot of awareness from the government side, so that there is a demand for those crops which have more nutrition. If there is no demand for the crop that has more nutrition, and farmer gets same price for those varieties which have less nutrition or more nutrition, there is no incentive for large scale adoption of those varieties. I think that seems to be the reason for that. And ICRISAT has been continuously working on these things, but it is always, as I said, irrespective of crops. You can even go to rice, zinc rice, other rice, But then for farmers, unless there is an incentive with that for producing that type of variety, it is not going to be adopted by a large number of farmers.
May I add some?
So.
All okay, but Delhi. You're not a Delhi, you have problem. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, in this group, I know the least about the millets. So please excuse me for not speaking much, because I will listen to you, and then maybe in the next year's millet conference, I will say something which would be more meaningful. But from my experience of research since 2016, I can say that as far as the farmers are concerned, millets are not the preferred crops for the irrigated areas. We have seen that wherever irrigation reaches, look, the farmers move to something else. From the millet or cotton, they move to something else. That something else could be sugarcane, or it could be rice, or it could be wheat. We have seen this particularly so, very predominantly in Telangana, where this new irrigation project, very large irrigation project, considered a great success, has brought water to several erstwhile rain-fed areas in Telangana, and the area under rice has increased manifold. Please excuse me, I am not able to quote the figures because I travelled from Lucknow to Delhi this morning and I forgot my written speech there. So there I had written down, there I had written down the area under rice, how much it has gone up, but I will But I can say that area under paddy in Telangana has substantially gone up at the cost of millets. So obviously, the farmers do not consider it remunerative enough. And the report of PwC which has been circulated also documents on page 31. It is not circulated. Okay. Because maybe it will be circulated. So I got a soft copy, and since I forgot my speech, I just took a printed copy from her. So it documents that the return on wheat, for example, per hectare of land is about 71,000 rupees, net return to a farmer. On rice, it is 58,000 rupees per hectare. Ragi, it is about 50,000 rupees. And Bajra only 34,000 rupees. So obviously, only those farmers will consider growing millets whose lands are not irrigated and who cannot grow wheat or rice either due to lack of irrigation or due to climatic conditions. Now, having said this, I am really impressed by the strides we have made in the last few years, especially by the private sector, in popularizing millets. And with my own personal experience, I can say that earlier, in the Spencer's Mall near my house in Noida, millets were not available. Except I think ragi, no other millet was available in bag form. And for buying that, you would go to another market where it will be from a registered company, unregistered company. It would not give any information. You would not even be sure whether it is the same thing which you are buying because it was neither packed properly nor labeled properly. But now I find in the last few months that availability has improved. So all the credit to the private sector which has popularized the consumption of millets and brought out its benefits, nutritional benefits to people. So people now realize that they can derive nutritional benefits, control of diabetes, etc., hypertension from millets. I would also like to highlight that please do not expect the central government to subsidize the procurement of millets. I have seen it at a very senior level in the government of India. The center is already overburdened with the procurement of wheat, rice, and bearing the burden of high price of sugarcane in some other ways. So the center is already spending too much on wheat, rice and sugarcane, and therefore I do not think it will be willing to take up additional responsibility for procurement of millets. However, it is heartening to see that several states, I think Odisha Food Secretary is here. Odisha Food Secretary was here at lunch. Director Food Media has gone away. So, Odisha and I think Karnataka are distributing millets under the state PDS program. So they are procuring millets out of their own funds and they are distributing it at subsidized rates out of their own funds. So maybe going forward, if there is sufficient media campaign or media awareness about the nutritional benefit of millets, then maybe the state governments will take up distribution of millets, at least in nutritionally deprived areas. Because now we know the districts which are nutritionally deprived, more deprived than other districts. So it is possible that the state governments will find it useful to distribute millets under the public distribution system. Now, the third point is, and after that I will stop, the third point is that for promotion of millets as an important source of nutrition, you have an example of a successful story. And that example comes from something which was created by Mr. B.V. Rao, who is the father of the poultry industry in India, like Dr. Kurian for the milk industry. So he set up National Egg Coordination Committee, which undertook massive advertisement campaign in early 80s and which brought the benefits of consumption of eggs to various states. And now you have poultry units across India in private sector. And this morning I met someone who has set up a number of poultry units in cooperative sector in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. So eggs have become a household item of consumption, and even those people who identify themselves as vegetarian, they also consume eggs, as the National Family Health Survey shows. So which means that the industry has to take initiative in popularizing the consumption of millets and extending its benefits. The government, however, has a huge budget on publicity, as those who are living in Delhi would be noticing right now and would continue to notice till the third week of September how much media spend is there on G20 and things. So the government does have a lot of money on media. Please approach them to spend a part of it on popularization of millets, because it brings benefit to not only the consumers but also to farmers, and also it is so good for the environment because it takes so little resources and gives so much in return. So I think I'll stop there, and I look forward to the comments of other speakers, which I will note down and use next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Good practical insights.
So very well. And on this money of government, I remember one thing. In the May 18 May, the session, all those functions at IRI, I was going to join from airport to IRI. My driver said, "Sir, what is this millet?" Because every billboard was having millet around. And I just asked that, "Aap kahan ke ho?" He said, "I'm from Agra." So I asked him, "Bajra suna hai kya?" So hamare ghar mein lagta hai. I said, "That is millet." So I think it's very important to make it mainstream, make people understand. And I believe that what you were saying about the availability, and we have heard it earlier as well, it's extremely important to make it available everywhere, the way they know it, the way they use it, the way they use other grains. So moving on to our next speaker, Shri J.C. Rana, who's country representative India for Biodiversity for Food and Agriculture, Alliance of Biodiversity International and CIAT CGIAR. So Dr. Rana has done Masters and PhD in Genetics and Plant Breeding and Postdoctorate in Molecular Plant Breeding from South China Agriculture University, Guangzhou. Presently, he is working as a country director at Alliance of Biodiversity International, CIAT India office, New Delhi. So, what do you say?
Thank you, and good afternoon, and thank you, Ficci, for providing this opportunity. I represent one of the CGI centers, that is Biodiversity International CIAT. Coming to millets, and for international millets. But looking at the ground level, the kind of nutrition levels that we have for nutrition, my worry is that rural India is suffering much more than the cities. So millets is whose worry? We have to answer that, because it happens in case of quinoa. The Indian regional farmer of Colombia, Peru, and all, they were very happy with the quinoa. They were growing quinoa for their own use and purpose. Somehow it went to Europe, and you know that what happened to quinoa. India also jumped into that a few years back, and we supplied a lot of seeds, even rice and were distributed free. and ultimately farmers get collapsed because there was no take control. So when we promote those kind of things, I'm not saying that millets is not good or not bad or the thing, but as a long-term plan, where we had millets in our system, how we are going to have millets again in our system. So those are sometimes some of the things that we really need to look into. Coming to my session, that production and productivity, yes, they are major challenges. So I will not speak much on this nutritional value or this, but certainly this COVID has made us realize that some kind of this plant-based food, even Europe has recognized very well now that the plant-based food for plant-based nutrition is very important than the animal-based nutrition. And here these kind of foods that we have, either millets or nutricerials or pulses, they can play a significant role in that. Also, we have to assure that when we are talking sometimes about biodiversity varieties, yes, we do have. But the country, India, the kind of food habits that we have, the kind of food that we eat, India has something different agriculture background, you know. India, what we cultivate, we eat. Europe doesn't do that. They don't cultivate what they eat. They eat something different and they cultivate something different. So the background of Indian agriculture is we have 86% marginal small farmers. It's altogether different. So if someone tries to put some European yardstick or a Western yardstick in India, it won't work. Except few states. And where it is there. As said in the PDS housing system, it has been brought, but not really by many states, and the production has to be, even if they supplement by 10 to 15% rice and wheat for PDS, you have to have a more than 10 million ton production. So coming to different challenges, first is that yield is a big challenge. So when yield is a big challenge, particularly in sorghum or either it is stagnated or it is declining in a few cases. So if you really need to enhance technology, the yield level in millets, there are no technologies. Even sometimes you say that millets or some of those kind of enterprise fruits or crops, they have some undesirable or nutrient factors. So now we have the technology, the cross-cutting technology, like CRISPR technology that we have. So those kind of technologies can be adopted. They need to be promoted beyond or kind of genomics-led breeding. Those kind of new techniques are really needed that if they enhance to production. But if you look at the overall geographic area, except IIM or Indian Institute of Tara was there, no institution is that much serious on that, on production technologies. I tell you one example. We had an SLR of disease recently, and we have been talking about the secondary processing. Evaluated product, all those things are well good enough and all well established. But there are two ladies, the rural farmers. There is a very pertinent question, and that's true. Millets is grown in a small farmers, small and marginal farmers, and small landholders. Nobody is going in Punjab and Haryana if you go, they don't want to go. So they used to plow the millets or the sowing of millets through the bullocks-led plow. Our ladies carrying this on tractor. And once you use the tractor for sowing, it doesn't germinate even. It goes so deep, it doesn't germinate even. That was the biggest challenge for them. That's a production challenge. They said, yes, it is there. Valuable products are there. But production challenges are there. If you use kind of modern mechanization to millets, we don't have that kind of machinery which really designed for millets. Secondly, if you go for threshing and harvesting, still it is manual. And threshing millets manually is such a difficult job. So when you are asking for production technology, you have to have that. Secondary processing is okay, primary processing there is a problem. So production technology, I think one is that yield level is very low and yield level have to adjust through modern breeding, through strengthening breeding programs. There is no other way of doing this. Then there is another production challenge is that low yield and profitability, which I discourage, that which I told you, tractor-driven farming and this. And when we are talking about climate resilience and all what we have these crops, probably there is a need, as you said, that there is a need to push those crops where we don't have much water, which are marginal lands. Because some of the crops like millets or some of the legumes like horse gram, few lentils, they have evolved in such an environment. The genetic makeup of those kind of crops is such that they respond only on those environments. For example, buckwheat. I have worked in buckwheat for many years. If you grow buckwheat in a little bit good environment or good soil, it won't germinate. So the kind of genetic makeup these kind of crops have evolved in that. So it's not a one day you can change the genetic makeup of the crops. The crop have evolved in that way. So if you try to push those crops into those environments, those high input environments, probably they won't respond. And it is happening in case of, you take the example of corn, millet, bajra, hybrid, or maize. Hybrids are grown only where we have a little bit of irrigation, assured irrigation, or assured rainfall. But if you travel to Jodhpur, Bardmer, and those areas, their people are not traveling. Because they need water. They need high input. This sometimes farmer cannot afford it. So we need to put those environments which are really a marginal farmer, marginal environment. And also we need to have some kind of enhancing the nested use. If millets has to have, if you really want to harness the millets benefits, it's only fermented. Because all starch and raw minerals, they are available to body only when it is in the kind of fermentation form of. So kind of beverages, a lot of beverages are there. Beverage industry is there. And finger millet and few millets are excellent brew making product. Even something better than barley. So we need to push those things rather than, because direct consumption is not possible. It's very rare. आप देखिए आपके घर में डायरेक्ट कौन खाता, हम नहीं खाते गाँव में मिलेट. It's difficult. I'm not able to convince my son and daughter. वो चुपचाप पिज्जा मंगा लेता है फिर भी. So having direct consumption, pushing as a direct consumption is sometimes difficult. And when you come into secondary processing, the cost of product is again not affordable by the common man. So how we enhance this affordable cost? Secondly, taste and availability. When you are in a comfort zone, why you will go to a discomfort zone? And wheat and rice is a comfort zone for me, or for anyone in this world. When we were children, we know, many of us, that in depot, in the PDS system, or what we call a depot, we used to get only sugar and some this mitti ka tel and all this. We never knew that we will get all those things. But I tell you, if you travel, I don't know much about other area, but if you travel the entire Shivalik, I tell you, and with a guarantee, if you stop PDS system for 6 months, 50% of the farmers will die with hunger. Himachal now has a very disaster and all the roads are closed. And the Chief Minister, that Jairam Thakur, made a statement that depots are khali and people are not getting food. Even the farmers, not a common man, farmers, they are highly dependent on this system. So when you are pushing all those things, how to address all those at the same time? So it's not easy to change the food habits overnight. It's not easy to change the lifestyle overnight. So we have to have all those things. We have to have some long-term planning. How do you do that? In awareness, a lot of awareness has been generated. We sitting in this hall as very much aware of the nutritive value of that. But you go to farmer, he is not aware. And when he is a distress in small farms, उसका तो इतना छोटा सा खेत है, which is less than 1 acre land holding है. If there is a little distress, he has an option, but to restore on a food security. And government has to do that, ensure food security. So those kind of challenges are there. unbelievable taste is there, then making availability also, secondary processing product as I told you. So all those things really need to, and competition also. Rice and wheat, there's not a competition in that. So are we really address that competition? Because they are easily available, cheaply available. And we tried, the government tried to allow demand for diversification. Nothing happened. And what he said rightly that government cannot support with the subsidies now, no more. वो शुगर राइस एंड व्हीट इसे कर रही है और शुगर इसलिए कर रही है कि चीनी रहनी है डिपो में और अगर फूड सिक्योरिटी से खाना देना है तो हैव टू यूज सब्सिडीज but it cannot be, it is not possible. On the some people are saying that you withdraw subsidies as you develop the country, you withdraw subsidies. So all those things are associated in this, and few states I said are a little bit hesitant on this. On PDS also in some states, for example, in Himachal, you can say there is not much problem on this. So, and then coming to supply chains, secondary processing is fine. Coming to primary processing, कोई एक मशीन नहीं है, बाजरा के लिए अलग है, किन्ने मिल के अलग है, 200 मिल के अलग है, how we can afford it? That is an issue. We need to really value chain and develop करनी है. We have to have those kind of machines. And also when you come for processing, like rice, red rice की बात करते हैं, हम black rice की बात करते हैं, but once you remove the outer layer, it's as good as normal rice. Simply millets. If you go for a little finer processing, it loses its nutritional value. So how to show that? And secondly, one asking that I would like to tell that the kind of material that we have in India, we were working on one project and then we went to Rajasthan and लोगों ने कहा कि बाजरा की कुछ हमारी varieties थी. Can you bring those back? Just said two names they took. One is Mushwari Bajra. Because the families are getting now single and single, they don't have. So जब हम बाजरा लगाते हैं तो उसमें bird damage बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. You have to look after बाजरा, otherwise you won't get harvest anything of that. So there is a, if we go a hybrid, even we harvest 10 quintal. मूछ वाली बाजरी में क्या है कि उसमें डिस्टर्ब होती है, तो उसको एक हफ्ता रिकॉर्डिंग करनी है. वंस दे बिट हार्ड, तो उसमें बर्ड्स नहीं बैठते हैं, चिड़िया नहीं बैठती और नहीं खाती है उसको. सो एटलीस्ट दे विल हार्वेस्ट 5 क्विंटल, दे विल गेट 4.5 at least. But if you don't go for hybrid and it is not there, if they don't go after, they will get nothing. Similarly, they said one पीली बाजरी. वो कहते हैं कि जब उसकी वो मिलट पलमेटा खाते हो कॉपिंग करनी पड़ती है आपको, then you make it flow out. तो उसकी जो उसको भूनती थी लेडीज, तो वो कहते हैं कि हाथ से बांधने पड़ते थे कपड़ा, तो उसको ढकना पड़ता था. कुछ बस इतने पावरफुल थे वो कि कम बाहर आ जाता था. और ना आप खुली कढ़ाई में उसको भून लो, कोई करने पड़ता है. And that kind of strength those values have. Your taste उनका इतना अच्छा था, उनकी सेल्फ लाइफ अच्छी थी. I think that Tara is not there, but they were looking for the low and seed varieties. बाजरा का आटा आप ज़्यादा नहीं रख सकते. So you have to have low and seed varieties and now use as well. तो जो land bases हमने देखी उसमें much lower and seed than the others. So their keeping work is much better. We have to झापा दूध मोंगर मक्की है वहाँ पे. अगर आपको कहीं खा रहे हो तो आपको ये नहीं होता कि मक्की खा रहे हैं कि गेहूं की रोटी खा रहे हैं. Those kind of material, the base I'm telling you, those kind of has to have procured, conserve and utilized in the BD program to have those trade. There are many land bases for coming in Maharashtra and Mumbai. They're excellent, so tasty. So all those kind of things are there, and nobody particular question was raised that what after 2023, December 2023. So that question was answered, but yes, it is a question. Thank you very much.
Co-founder Wholesome Food. Meghna is from Bangalore, studied computer science engineering at Bangalore University. So you know the coding and decoding everything well of food and nutrition. He always has been passionate about children's nutrition and health, and is on a mission to have positive impact on India's childhood nutrition strategy. She has been a national level swimmer, amazing, and also represented India at the Asian Games and won for 400 nation goals. Amazing athlete. So great to have such all-rounder personality among us. Okay,
Yeah, sorry. That was a very long time ago. But hello everybody. My name is Meghana Narayan. I'm the co-founder of Wholesome Foods. A lot has been said about the problems, right, for the farmers and so on. But I think, let me tell you what we have learned. I've been doing this for about 7 years. Our first brand is called Slurp Farm. It's a children's food brand. And we just launched a second brand, Millet for Adults. Millets are core to everything that we do. Way before International Year of Millets, and then millets became sort of kind of cool. We've been working with millets. So I think, firstly, I just want to say, our understanding was that I was a consumer of millets. Those 400 gold medals were won because every morning at 5:30, my mother would give me a big bowl of ragi. And as Mr. Rana said, it tastes horrible. And it's not delicious at all. It's a bowl of ragi porridge. It's really basic, but it's super, super healthy. So I think all these, in some ways they say, right, the dots connected. And as a grown-up adult, when I decided to make a kids' food brand, I was like, nothing that we launch will not be super, super delicious. Otherwise, parents will buy it once, children will spit it out, and then nobody will buy it again. And I'm here to build a very, very large company, and have lots and lots of children eat millets. That was always the intention. What we have learned is that nobody knew about millets, right? So first, or the understanding was, that could only be eaten as a porridge, or maybe as a bhakri, or as a roti. But if you really want, younger people to try it and to change the way they're eating, you have to reach them in a way they understand. You have to make them into sort of crunchy chocolate-looking things. You have to take them into pancakes. You have to make them into dosas. You have to make them into noodles, and that's what we set out to do. So first, we're getting the product that was really yummy that people want to eat again and again and again. Again, we're not saying that millets are the only way. We should not eat wheat and rice. We're just saying add a bit of diversity to your plate, and we're going to help you do that. The second piece of things is in 2017 we wrote a white, so that was on the consumer end. In 2017 we wrote a white paper on what it will take to bring millets back. We put into we probably sent you a copy, sir, at that time. But it got shout outs from, we sent it to people over and over again. The 5th time we sent it, Amitabh Khan, Piyush Goyal tweeted about it. So I was like, maybe there's something to never giving up. And what was that? The whole idea was of, bringing that on the radar, getting people to sort of understand that, there's so many problems. We can say there's so many problems and give up, or we can tackle them one by one. As a company, we are tackling the demand side. We're trying to get people excited about millets, make products that make them want to consume them. On the supply side, we're little babies in the space of, in space of learning how to work with farmers. This year, our first year, where we are saying this Diwali, we went to Ratnagiri. We spent a couple of days with a couple of FPOs to try and figure out what are all the issues facing the farmers and why are they not, why is it that all these problems exist? To be honest, I don't have a clear answer. I think that it is very complicated to get this right. But we said, you have to start somewhere. So this year for Diwali, we're making laddus with the ragi from that group of FPOs, and we're like, let's get that going, and then we'll unpeel this next complicated onion slowly. I think companies like ITC have done it for wheat, right? And yes, water flows where there's least friction, so that's why perhaps that was easier to do. But many people are trying to figure this out, right? Lots of from the large companies to small companies, we're all putting our heads together and trying to figure out what it will take to make this happen. I don't have any solutions, on the farm side. The farmer is an economic, just like you and me. He has a job, and he's an economic agent. He's going to do, you said the numbers in the PwC report, right? 30,000 for bajra, 50,000 for ragi, and a whole lot more for wheat and rice. So I know what choice I would have made if I was the farmer. So if farmer's not making a different choice from any of us, we have to make people make a different choice based on what's good for them and good for the planet. And that is a tall ask. But that's what we are here to do. I have nothing else to do for the next 20 years, so that's the plan. Thank you.
Thank you for at least to make it big. Now, I want to invite Mr. Abhinav Shukla, who is Regional Head ITC, to share what ITC is doing in developing millet agri value chain. You guys have done big, as Meghna just mentioned about wheat, and we believe that the millet mission you are having is going to create a similar impact on the farmers, consumer across. So, what do you have?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I think I would start with while most of the challenges and solution have been covered. Right, I think Joshi sir did mention about in his speech about thinking from the perspective of the farmer. So that's the point which I would like to bring during the next course of time. Some of the challenges in millet production which are affecting the farmer, right? So let's start. Why should a farmer be doing millet production when he has the opportunity to do wheat and rice? And this is what Siraj sir was also mentioning about, that it's an additional crop. It's not even a second crop, right? People do wheat as a first crop and then they do other stuff, but it's an additional crop. So to answer that question, let's understand the challenges involved in millet production. So the first challenge starts from what we call as seed availability and availability of extension services. So high quality seed availability so that farmer can produce the varieties which are required in the market, right? So once farmer produce, it will be processed, there will be a demand which can get fulfilled, like what Meghna was mentioning about the products which are being developed, right? Next is development of high yielding varieties. So what PwC report was also talking about, that yield for various millet varieties is pretty low as compared to what we get in wheat and rice. So that's something as a second point in terms of seed availability. There is also significant disparity between the quality of millet produce across the country, which does affect the sensory experience of the end customer. So that's another angle which we as a let's say a country we need to explore. When it comes to extension service, which is a very crucial impact in terms of transmitting the R&D which is happening in all the agri institutes across the country and getting those information, getting that knowledge right to the farmer so that he can develop the right varieties for the end customer. So that's the impact of extension service. And due to the low acreage of millet as of now in the country, the focus has been low in terms of developing these extension services. There is also a limited transfer of hybrid varieties, which Karan was also talking about, from these agri institute to the farmer. So once we start developing the infrastructure around these extension services, more and more information, more and more R&D can happen in the agri institute, and that can get transmitted to the farmers. So that's on seed material and extension. The third important thing for farmer is adopting the right packages of practices. So millet being a very old crop, being the neglected crop, being only done by the farmers in the areas which are generally rain-fed. So this lack of focus has actually affected or actually obstructed the millet to reach its true potential in the yield. So for example, if I take an example of rice intensification is one of POP or package of practices where you when you transplant the pod into the field, you actually make it equidistant from each other so that they are not fighting for the nutrition. So similar practices need to be adopted during the production of millet also. Right POP, and this is what we have found during various studies done with the farmers, that right POP actually can increase the yield of, let's say, sorghum, which is jowar, by at least 200% from the productivity levels which are right now. Finger millet, which is also called as ragi, by around 50%. Yes, that's on package of practices. The third problem which the entire millet value chain is facing is in terms of mechanization and availability of right processing plants. So mechanization as a problem is prevalent in most of the agri commodities in this country, we have not yet reached the full potential of farm mechanization as compared to the developed nation. This was also mentioned in one of the PwC reports, I think last year, where they have compared what is being done in US, what is being done in Ukraine, especially this was done for wheat. So what is being done in US, Ukraine, Russia, and then they compared the penetration of farm mechanization in India. That's another point. Lack of proper facility, like Rana was also mentioning about that different varieties or different varieties of millet need to be processed in a separate way. So you can process them, and they should be also able to secure the nutrition value, high nutrition value, which is there in the millet, and that should get transferred to the end product and it should reach the customer. So that's where the need for right processing facility at a local level, not at a, let's say, a central level, at a local level is required. Now, the fourth point, and why it is why the farmer will do millet production, is in terms of providing the right market linkages and industry linkages. So, millet again being a neglected crop, these marketing linkages are absent right now in the country. More and more work is happening since last 4-5 years, and definitely the linkages have been improving when it comes to the market as well as industry. But definitely more need to be done here. Right now, they are most of them they're dependent on local traders or local aggregators, and that's where the raw material gets stored. Lastly, I think the farmer would be very interested in terms of the price support which he can get, because if he is doing production of millet, he's definitely need a demand also from the other side. That's all. And then the price and the profitability which comes along with the millet production. So that's the low share of profit margin for farmers is another key reason why the millet production is low right now in the country. Another angle, just to answer the question of demand, is that the consumer awareness, which again has been increasing over the period of time. So that also need to be built in, so that farmer can actually know that there is a demand and he needs to produce the millet crop. So that's on the part of some of the challenges in terms of millet production and supply chain. What we are doing is ITC. So ITC is a very old company, and we have been connected with the farmers. So what we are doing is that we are leveraging the enterprise strength which comes due to the presence in agri industry, the food industry, as well as the hospitality industry. So we do operate largely in agriculture commodities. We do operate in a lot of brands like Ashirwad, Bingo. You would have heard about it, and you would have seen our products displayed on the third floor also. We also operate in hotel industry, thereby getting the knowledge as well as the experience of highly qualified chefs, which are able to prepare the millet-based products and are able to drive that, let's say, awareness about the nutrition, drive the taste, the quality of the millet product which comes out of those kitchens. So that's what we are using. And so you mentioned about the mission millet. That's definitely what ITC is doing, and it revolves around the points of product development, sustainable farming, as well as spreading the consumer awareness. So when it comes to product development, as I mentioned, a lot of products have been developed. The demand is being created right now across the country by spreading the consumer awareness, right, through events like these where we are promoting the millet products. We also launched a postal stamp with a tie-up with the Indian Post Office, where the Mission Millet stamp was launched. And the sustainable farming, that's the benefit which we are giving to the farmer, is through integrated millet value chain development. So what we are doing in that is that we are working, we are driving backward integration with the farmer. We are doing forward linkages, as well as in between we have a product called ITC Mass, which is an upgraded version of e-Chopal. So e-Chopal has been there since last 20-25 years. It has been closely working with farmers by creating rural infrastructure, getting their produce to the market, helping them out in terms of cross advisory, etc. Now we have come out with a product called ITC Mass, which is a physical solution. It's a physical as well as digital. We do have physical presence across various states and in various districts in the country. Digital in terms of that the app helps the farmers to get the right crop advisory at the right time. There is a agri input module on that platform, where we are able to supply the inputs required by the farmers for the entire production, as well as we are providing him a marketplace on the same app to sell his produce also. And lastly, we are able to help him out in terms of providing the right credit to the farmer, so that he can be incentivized in terms of growing the millet production. So that's the middle layer. When it comes to backward linkages, what we are doing is that we are doing all these agri extension services which I was speaking about. We have a large group of people who have been deployed on ground. They are with the farmers throughout the growing season, right till the harvest season, and we tell them the kind of practices we need to be developed. We drive experiments by doing, let's say, the control plot and the normal plot, and we show them the result. And that's why they are able to adopt those practices. We have also tied up with certain agri institutes where we are doing continuous R&D to get these new varieties in. And post-harvest infrastructure development, which we were talking about, developing the supply chain, the transportation, the storage, the processing facility. That's also a lot of R&D is being done, and we are trying to inculcate that knowledge right back to the farmer so that he is aware that whatever he is producing is going to get processed and going to get sold in the market. Coming to the forward linkages, as I have mentioned about the products which ITC is being developed, we do also have a R&D center in Bangalore where all these efforts are taking up. We are also doing consumer activation in terms of using the help of our hotel chefs where they do live demos, live product is being cooked, and then we do the sensory activation and all those stuff. We are obviously providing the market linkages, promoting millets as I've talked about through these kind of events, as well as like the one which we did last month, as well as we are developing opportunities to export the millet. So I think farmer productivity or farmer profitability, rather I should say, would come if we are able to drive the importance of millet right across the world. Right? US being one of the major importers of the world, and then the world is moving towards more nutrition, more healthier food products as a choice of their palate. Right? So that's why if you are able to export, if you are able to get more money to the farmer, I think that's where he will be increasing the production of the millet apart from what we are doing right now in terms of wheat and rice. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhinav. Thank you so much. I think very good discussion, and see, it motivates us as a task force member or so that from organization like Wholesome Food to ITC are working together, maybe in a different scope, to create the demand, and that is something which is required if you want to actually make a robust value chain, because there has to be a demand, because demand will drive everything. And from there, we have institutes in public as well as private who are working in R&D to create right kind of seeds, right kind of genetics, and the right kind of product which can be more, high yielding. At the same time, can handle stress, maybe heat stress, water stress, or everything as much as possible. So this, along with people in between, we discussed about many things like, when we create such kind of demand, the prices would be right, and the MSP probably will be driven by this market demand and will be higher. And that will make sure that even in irrigated area, people are still thinking that, okay, millet is still good for me and giving few more quintals. And another piece like government, we heard about Siraj sharing, Odisha, Karnataka, they are having millets in the PGs. I think this is a huge opportunity to increase overall demand as such. And as we see that one of the pieces, the consumption in rural is also going down. It's not only urban. We are trying most of the things of demand generation in the urban area. We have to make sure that it should be consumed where it is being grown. And then for that, it's extremely important. It will not only increase the demand, but it will also reduce the environmental impact, because it is being consumed where it is grown. The overall sustainability will be better. Cost of product, one of the piece which came out, Ranaji also touched upon that. We have to make sure that it is affordable so that everybody is using it. We can make it mass product. And right processing in terms of technology is extremely important to make sure that we are using the nutrients well, not leaving them or discarding them from the food, but in making it tasty, which is extremely important, as Meghna shared that. Making it tasty will drive it, the overall demand. If you are going for the kids, they are using it in their beginning of the years, probably will have adults 20 years from now who have been the similar kind of food habits, like Meghna had that one bowl of flour, ragi made her a champion swimmer. And I think understanding the benefit themselves will make sure that they are taking those good benefits to the next generation. And their next generation is also, because these are acquired tastes, you have to have it to actually take it further. And we also understood about the key need on mechanization on in terms of planting, because that is important for farmer, but at the same time processing, for the right processing, so that we are not losing on anything. And we know, like with many startups, we found that the consistent quality after primary processing is something which is the basic demand of the industry. And I believe there is an opportunity to put a lot in infrastructure through different government projects and other kind of projects to make sure that we are having this in all the areas. Abhinav touched upon the market linkage. I think that is the key. A company like ITC can create a strong market linkage platform and infrastructure. But if we can have the same with all the startups, if we can start buying it from the farmers and probably an NGO, FPO, SHG, whatever, who are creating the primary processing there to give you a consistent quality, that will bring value at the village level, and that will make sure that all the village and farmers are attracted towards it. A few more things which we believe that government is doing a lot on that. There are an opportunity that farmers who are planting millet, can we see government and different agencies giving them carbon credit, because that's what they are doing. They are doing cropping agriculture which is sustainable, very less inputs used. So is it a possibility? We also need to see that all those benefits which you are talking about, can we create more evidences for that? We are talking about diabetes and all those things can be handled by millets, but can we have more medical research evidence so that it can further increase the overall demand? And yes, we all need to embrace millet if we want to make sure that we all are healthier and our planet is moving sustainability in feeding each and every one of us. So I'll stop myself here and thank you for your participation. If you have any question from panelists, we can take it here. Yeah.
I'm working with the farmers. So I'm facing everything to them, contract farming. So it is very difficult to convince them. And is there any, because as such now there are a lot of subjects are coming in, but there is no subject especially on the animal and human conflict area. We didn't cover it. We have to. And one more thing, I made a few farmers to grow brown top millet once. So that was time, and the price was very high. And at the time of selling it, the price gone down, fluctuating like anything. The brown top millet is like a so, and the storage, of course, storage, and in fact there is another problem we are finding is saving the native varieties. In fact, in our area there is one special variety which is called Kurvi Chola. That I don't know. It is a Tamil Malayalam mix. Okay, and that is actually in one stand you can even get 1.5 kg of grains. That kind of variety we had. We don't have right now. That, especially after saying about the Muchwari Bajra, I was thinking about that, and that is not there. In fact, there are 30 different type of varieties of ragi available, and we don't have any storage system for that. So 30 different type of varieties, only few area where tribal is growing, tribal people are growing, but government is not. We need the support from that to save the special varieties. Okay, and third one regarding the mechanization. So regarding the mechanization of growing, that like dispersing, like So they do have a kind of old technology. They do have a kind of old technology where they dispose their seeds along with the other crops. Like groundnut will be there and maize will be there. All the varieties together along with the minor millets and major millets, they grow it together. That not able to change. And in fact, monoculture is not there in tribal communities at all. They grow everything together, and they do have a kind of way of doing, as sir was saying, that if it goes little beyond the soil, it will not grow. So they do have a kind of dance like Kambala. It is called Kambala. They do dance on the soil after the sowing. So that they don't believe in mechanization. So if we are giving the mechanization, we should find out something similar to that.
That's right. My point on that.
Actually, it's an address rather than a question. So, I think the point is every millet is different, and what we are going to do has to be different for everything. Wherever the possibility of customization and having one thing works for all, that we need to take it. But it's not that easy because, as he clearly said, you plant both of it. It is going to help one, but will not be good for the other one. But yes. So, any other question we have? Yes. Just a second, Mr. Ranga, I want to respond.
I want to respond. I call this as a policy paralysis. This is the first and foremost question that farmers put on you whenever you go to farmers. Can you do something? Many of the reasons the bad soil because of kilometers of land, cultivated land, is lying vacant because of a single reason. Wild animals. And you don't have option. If you go millets and all these crops, there are snake cattle. If you go cardamom crop, there are wild crops. If you go fruit, there are monkeys. So they are the policy parameters. So
Amit Soni and Dr. Sumit Soni for the gratitude for this millet cake. They also develop bajra cookies. Can we do the honors, please? Ma'am, please, can you do the honors, please?
We should have a millet song.
We need to now make a millet song.
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday we saw that moon wala song. जो सारे schools में सबने करा. So every school has to make that moon song. तो अभी millet song होगा.
Thank you everyone. Thank you so much.
Jitendra Joshi, Chairman Ficci Millet Millets, and Mr. Kaushal Jaiswal. And the dignitaries and the esteemed participants in this program, and I'm really glad that I was just discussing with Mr. Mathur that 1 year has completed. And it is really glad, I think this is becoming a success model in the agri basket of the country. The way millet has been positioned, and especially after the announcement, the way we have celebrated the International Year of Millets, and with the support of all line ministries, concerned organization, and the entrepreneurs, this credit goes to the entrepreneurs. Because before IYOM, I think we were able to have only raw millets, or maximum the millet cookies or the small cereals. But within a period of 1 year, I think tremendous changes and transformation has come, and which was visible when we organized the program in Pusa, and where 100 stalls were set up. And the range of millet and millet products, which no one can believe, that from millet pasta, millet noodle, millet ice cream, millet milk, and number of products. And that shows the power of the Indian entrepreneurs, especially the agripreneurs in the country. And the way the efforts are being publicized, not only in the domestic market, but the global market. The initiatives taken by the Ministry of Agriculture. Globally, we are promoting the millets. FIDA has
APIDA along with the Ministry of Agriculture, 15 trade events, where these all are the international trade events, where the participation of the exporters, the entrepreneurs, FPOs were organized. And in these trade fairs, at least, the consumers in the international market and global market were able to know what millet is, what value-added millet product, and what are the benefits of that. And in the international market, when we have participated in a number of programs, we came to know that people are not aware. But with this initiative of International Year of Millets, which is being celebrated, and at least the consumers have come to know what millet and millet value-added products are there. In the last session, I just joined the late, I was listening to one of the speakers. Because people or the consumer should know how the millet is to be consumed. There is a way. Not it is to be registered in the millet in any form and any time it can be consumed. Because until unless the proper awareness is not there. So I think the kind of initiative by the Government of India, the line ministries, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Food Processing, Ministry of Commerce, APIDA, the way it is being organized. And in a period of 1.5 years, if we see, more than 80 startups have come up in this field, and who have been responsible to develop such nicely packaged products. The organizations like ITC, Tata, and the number of the retail giants, they have entered into and coming up with good innovation, and the credit goes to the R&D institutions also. APIDA has partnered with the International Institute of Millet Research. We have engaged 3 knowledge partners. One is this Indian Institute of Millet Research. We awarded a project 1.5 years back, and who are supporting and facilitating the startups and the companies. University of Agriculture Sciences, Bangalore, and third is the Yes Man. And we are continuously working on coming up with and providing guidance to the startups and the small entrepreneurs, especially in the area of millets. Because when we started this journey, we came to know that the very small entrepreneurs are there. The startups who really require hand-holding. These are not the big exporters, the large export houses who know the process. So by the hand-holding and the facilitation support by all the concerned organizations, we have reached to this stage. And just for discussing this time in Mathur, that after completing the 1 year, the challenge actually begins now, how to sustain it. So where we have reached, we have to take it along at the next level, and with the support of Ministry of Agriculture, especially Madam Shubha Thakurji, she is the driving force in the Ministry of Agriculture. Number of events which were not approved, new events have come. One event is in Slovenia, and which is going to start from day after tomorrow. Where a delegation of the exporters has gone to Slovenia. Slovenia, like a small country in the EU. So we have tried to go to the small countries also. In Kenya also, this a new request has come up, where with Ministry of Agriculture, the participation will be organized in the form of either in the participation of here or with the buyer-seller meet. So this is a good journey where from starting from the millet farmers, FPOs, processors, exporters, they are able to showcase their product, the strength of the Indian millets in the international market. I compliment Ficci for organizing specifically this millet core group or the millet committee, which has continuously organized the program. Series of programs have been organized. I was part of one of the programs, and I really feel that has really helped in sensitizing all the entrepreneurs in the supply chain. And the knowledge report which has been released, I was listening that in the morning the knowledge report has been released. There will be definitely a good reference document for all these stakeholders in the entire supply chain. So I wish all the best, and especially seeing the young who are the future of the country, who have ventured into this and got awards. Compliment to all of you. Let us take it forward together. Thank you very much. All the best.
prices